welcome to the Healthy Choices Kitchen. I'm Katie Galton, the nutrition educator at the Interfaith Food Pantry. Today I'm going to be featuring a recipe that uses a very seasonal item, sweet potatoes. A great food to enjoy any time of the year, but especially during this time of the year we seem to see them around a lot. The recipe that I'm going to make is a really easy recipe. It's a quick, healthy recipe that you can find probably most of the ingredients in your cabinet already. I'm going to be baking a sweet potato, and then I'm going to be making a very simple chili that will go on top of it. So I'm going to get started with the chili first to let that cook a little bit, and then I'll show you how I'm going to cook the sweet potatoes, because you have lots of options with sweet potatoes. So I'm going to get my pan heated and get the oil going, get it warmed up a little bit. Get that oil around the pan. And while that's heating, let me tell you what's going to go into the chili. I'm going to have some onion that's going to go in. You might not be able to tell what this is just by looking at it, but this is a bell pepper. Bell peppers come in all different colors, like green, yellow, orange. This is the color that we happen to have at the pantry, so this is what I'm going to use. But you can use any type of bell pepper that you'd like. We've chopped that, and then a nice flavor with garlic is going to go in. We're going to cook those together for a little while, get them soft, and then be adding some seasonings to it. I'm going to be adding some cumin, a little cayenne if you like it spicy. If you don't like it spicy, you can just leave the cayenne out. Some chili powder, and a little bit of oregano. Those are going to be our seasonings. And then the only other ingredients are a can of black beans, which I've rinsed and drained, and a can of low-sodium tomatoes, no salt added tomatoes. And I'm going to put all of those juices into it. So this is going to be, as I mentioned, tasty and quick, but also a very healthy recipe, especially when we're thinking about hypertension, which is what I'm going to talk a little bit about today as we're cooking. So let me get those things in the skillet. My onions. I'm going to get a spoon out. My peppers. You can hear the skillet is just about ready for them to cook. And my garlic. And we're going to get those started. So we just want this to soften a little bit. So I'm going to let that cook. And while that's cooking, I'm going to show you how I'm going to cook the sweet potatoes. Now, when we're talking about hypertension, we're thinking another word for blood pressure, high blood pressure. We know that we should really try to reduce the amount of sodium that we take in. The potassium can help balance our salt intake to help improve our blood pressure sometimes. So potassium is a mineral that really, across the population, we don't get enough of. But it's really important mineral. It helps with our muscle contraction, especially our heart, and it also helps maintain the fluid balance in our body. So eating potassium-rich foods is just good for your overall health. The only exception would be if you do happen to have some type of kidney disease, you do have to be careful about your potassium intake. So give that a stir, and let's get these sweet potatoes ready. So what I'm going to do always with a sweet potato, or any potato, I'm really going to scrub the potato because they're dirty. So I'm going to just take it over, give it a good, really scrub it, and get the dirt off. Because you can, when you do that, you really can see that dirt coming off. And then I'm going to pat it dry. Now there's a couple ways that you can cook these. If you have lots of time, you can cook this in the oven, and it couldn't be easier. All you have to do is poke some holes in it. That's to let, as it cooks, steam builds up, and you want to give those holes, give the steam a place to escape. The steam can escape through the holes, so the potato doesn't explode. So that's all you need to do to get it ready to go into the oven. The other way, easy way, and if you're in a hurry and what makes this a quick meal, is you can just cook the sweet potato right in the microwave. Again, you're going to wash it, give this one a quick scrub. Scrub it off, dry it, poke your holes, and it's ready to go in the microwave. And where the sweet potato in the oven could take anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, depending on the size, the microwave will take maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, so much quicker. And it really does cook it very nicely. A big factor, obviously, is going to be how big your sweet potatoes are. Because if you have a little sweet potato like this, it's going to cook much quicker. If you have a bigger sweet potato, it's going to take much longer. So you just have to be aware of that when you're cooking that. So let's see. This is getting ready. Not quite soft enough yet, although we certainly can smell it, that it's cooking. And it is getting there. All right. Let me just cook it for a minute and then I'll... Okay, so this looks like it's ready now. We can see that the onion has softened a bit. It's starting to get a little opaque there. And so we're going to add our other ingredients. We're going to add our seasonings now, our cumin, our chili powder, our oregano, and our cayenne. Again, adjust that as you like. You can certainly leave that out. I'm just going to give those a stir to get them all mixed up with the, those vegetables. And then we'll add the beans and the tomatoes, and that's going to be it. And this is going to be our topping for our sweet potato. Okay, so I'm going to add my beans, which I have, as I mentioned, have drained and rinsed. Again, when we're talking about ways to reduce our salt intake, our sodium intake, one really simple thing you can do is if you're using canned vegetables, is to rinse them and drain off the juices. So I actually took the beans, poured it into this, put it under the sink, under the faucet, and ran water over it to drain that sodium and juices off. Actually can reduce the amount of salt or sodium by about 30%. You can do that with vegetables, all kinds of beans. You can also look for beans and canned vegetables that say no salt added or low sodium. Just like our tomatoes have no salt added to them. So while we want to increase the potassium-rich foods in our diet, we want to reduce the amount of salt that we take in. So we're going to just get this all together. And really, all this needs to do is cook for 10 minutes or so. Just let it simmer together so the flavors come together. Everything is cooked, so you're just bringing the flavors together a little bit. So we'll let that cook while we go get our sweet potatoes ready. put some sweet potatoes in the oven about 45 minutes ago to bake, just like I showed you. Washed it, poked holes, stuck it in the oven. So I'm going to see if it's ready now. Yeah, I think they probably are. Now, one thing I did is I made sure to put these on just a small pan, because as they cook, they can get a little messy. You can see how some of the juices are coming out. And if that overflows or gets into your oven, it's just a little hard to clean up. So let's see. I'm going to see if they're ready just by poking my fork, just like you would a white potato. And if it goes in easily, they're done. Yep, they're done. You can see that they're cooked nice. Oh, what a beautiful orange color they are. So that orange color, a lot of potassium-rich fruits and vegetables have that dark orange color. Things like melons, apricots, sweet potatoes, good source of potassium, also vitamin A. So these are ready. And so I'm just going to switch plates here. I'm going to put these on the plate. Be ready to use. So all I need to do, this is the one we got ready. It just goes in the oven. On the pan. Check it after 35, 40 minutes. If it's not quite done, cook it a little bit longer. That's pretty easy to cook. Now, the other way you can do it, as I mentioned, if you want it to be a little quicker, is put it in the microwave. And so I have one in the microwave that I had cooked earlier. And again, let's see. You can see it's done. And it's all ready to use. Put that there. One difference in the microwave is you need to turn it so that it cooks more evenly. So I will put that on the plate with the holes poked. I'm going to put it in for about 3 minutes. And then in 3 minutes, I need to come back and just turn it over so that it cooks more evenly. This is cooking. Needs to cook just a few more minutes. But this is going to go right on top of our sweet potato. A few more foods that are really right in this meal that we're fixing that are higher in potassium include tomatoes. So tomatoes are a good source of potassium, tomato sauce, also beans. So this really is a potassium-rich meal that we're making. Also, I might add that it's also a meatless meal. So if you're looking to go more plant-based foods, which we know is a healthy way of eating, this is a nice, easy option for you. You know, and I was thinking as I was making it, it's a great quick meal for dinner. There's no reason you couldn't have this for breakfast. If you have this left over from the night before, just heat it up and put the topping on it. And you really want to have a breakfast that includes protein. This is a great meal with the beans that you're getting some protein. You're going to feel full through the day if you have some protein with breakfast. Also, the sweet potatoes are very rich in fiber. That's going to keep you feeling fuller longer also. So this appears to be done, and it smells delicious. So this is how we're going to complete our meal if you would like. I'll fill one of these. Take this one. So after your potato comes out of the oven or microwave, just fluff it a little bit. Open it up and put your topping on. Put a spoonful of the chili on top. This just has a really nice fall look to it. We've got the orange colors, the darker colors. Then you can put some cheese on top. This is a low-fat cheese. Oh, I heard my sweet potato go. I'm going to take a pause here and go turn it over. Just going to flip it over. Set it for about 2.5 minutes because that's not a great big sweet potato. Got some cheese there. This is up to you what you want to put on top, if anything. I'm going to put some Greek yogurt on top as a substitute for sour cream. Put a little bit of that. Again, dairy products are also a good source of potassium. And if you like cilantro, you can add some cilantro to the top. I know some people do and some people don't. And then if you are lucky enough to have some avocado, you could add some avocado to it as well. Again, avocados are a great source of potassium. So take a bite and see how it is. I know how it's going to be. It's delicious. I've made this at home. I want to get a little bit of everything on my fork. Sweet potato, some of the beans, some of the tomatoes. Very, very good. I love the cilantro as a extra flavor to it. It's great. It's a filling meal also. So I hope you'll try that. Just go over, though, some of the things that we included in this recipe that make it heart healthy and a lower sodium recipe. I didn't add any salt to it, but we used seasonings to give it flavor. The chili powder, the cayenne, the cumin, the oregano. So that gives it flavor without adding salt. We used no salt tomatoes, and we drained the beans, which again reduces the sodium. So it's delicious and good for you at the same time. So share it with your family or make it for yourself.